And that's what you want to do. You want to make the user experience as
easy
as possible, as seamless as possible, and efficient as possible. So the best way to do that is making sure everything that they're probably looking for is already there. Welcome back to another episode of the Inspired Talks podcast. We're super excited to get on this podcast today because we're going to be talking about how to maximize Instagram for your social media presence.
Yes.
So we just have some questions that we're going to be, asking each other, and some topics that we're going to be sharing on how to really do that, because it's really important as a business owner and as an entrepreneur or a speaker or coach to have a strong online presence, especially when it comes to Instagram, because that's like our digital business card now and portfolio. So let's get right into it.
So the first juicy question I have here is, EJ, what are some key strategies for entrepreneurs to maximize their online presence on Instagram?
Ooh, so some key strategies, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's so many strategies out there.
There's a lot.
And like you can find a million of them online right now. But for us, definitely the strategy and approach that we like to take is making sure that everything is consistent when it comes to the overall brand, right? We want to be consistent in our tone, how we write captions, consistent in the way we post, right? Even the aesthetics that we have on our page, we want to make sure that's consistent and is flowing in a cohesive way. So the strategy is also having a plan on like how often you want to post a week, right? How often do you want to show up online? And you got to do what's best for you. Sometimes you probably only post one time a week,
right?
Or sometimes some people can post 3 times in one day. I know we're not at that level to do that yet, or we don't choose to do that because our strategy is a little bit different, and everybody got to find something that works for them. So I would say first, figure out what you're comfortable with in terms of how often you want to show up online, how often you want to post. Second, understand your brand foundation, right? Understand what is that voice, or how do you want to show up? What's the tone you want to set through your captions, through the colors that you have. And third, I would say be consistent for sure. I know it sounds cheesy, but it's true. Like just being consistent not only brings reward, but being consistent will show you and teach you different things that you probably never learned.
Yeah, that's good. And I want to just add one more thing. A key strategy to maximize your online presence, I would say, is looking at what already works for you. So we have Instagram analytics. Take a look at it and see what's already working, because I know Reels, like the purpose of that is to reach maybe an audience that's outside of who already follows you. So you can play with that. But let's say maybe just posting a photo or a carousel works better for your current audience.
Yeah.
Then you would stick to doing more of that. For EJ and I, Reels are really great for both. Our Reels not only expose us to just new people on Instagram, but it also does help engagement with our current audience. Right. Our current audience enjoys our Reels. And it may be different for everyone. You might have, I think like Peter McKinnon, like he can just drop one photo and, he's going to get a lot of engagement and comments on that. So it just really depends. So I would say take a look at what's already working for you.
Yeah.
So you can continue working on your online presence.
I agree.
Yeah. And so that brings us into sharing some tips for optimizing an Instagram profile to attract and engage a target audience. So what are some tips on that? How can, anyone listening to this optimize their Instagram page so that it attracts their specific audience?
Yeah, definitely. I'm a big advocate on having a strong bio. Like when it comes to, so when people are coming on your page or when people are coming on your Instagram, primarily they're looking at, obviously they're going to see the followers, right? Mm-hmm. And then they're going to see your profile photo, and then they're going to see your bio.
Right.
And your bio has to be strong because that, people's attention span is very short
first
already.
Impression.
So you have to have that first impression. It's just like going on the date, right? You have to make a good first impression. So I believe that having a strong bio is crucial when trying to narrow the type of leads or the type of clients that are going to be investing into your content or investing into following you. And, you know, like for us, like we kind of summarize what we do, what we do and who we serve
And what results.
and what results we're going to give our clients within the first 5 seconds. So just for example, our bio is, we help entrepreneurs save time, create more, and stand out online in 3 sessions or less. So right there off the bat, you know exactly who we serve, what we do, and how we can present that result for that client or for that person. So I would definitely say start with your bio, and sometimes it'll be hard. You know, you don't want to have a bunch of different titles in your bio, like I'm a lawyer, I'm a coach, I'm this, I'm this, I'm that. You want to just get straight to the point on how can you help that person from the other side. So I will say start there, and you might have different variations over the time or over the course of, you know, of you doing this, but you can start off broad, you know, for maybe a paragraph, and then break it up into sentences, and then break it up into a few words. And it's kind of like your mini pitch or your elevator pitch. So I would say start with that. Yeah, I think that's a big one right there. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I think that's great. The bio is just so important. You know, we've had to change ours a couple of times over the years, and we're pretty happy with where it is now. And so, yeah, I definitely think if you guys need an example, definitely check out ours and see how you can kind of recreate your own, or even go online and, you know, there's different articles explaining, you know, the bio in more details. So yeah, that brings us to our next question, which is, how important is it to establish a consistent and visually appealing aesthetic on Instagram? Ooh. And how and what are some ways businesses and entrepreneurs can achieve that?
Yeah, aesthetics is everything, man. For those who don't know what aesthetics is, right? Aesthetics is just how a profile looks at first glance, together, all at once, cohesive. It's not one particular image or one particular reel that can make or break the aesthetic, but it's how everything is put together, you know, as one, right? So as you're scrolling down your feed or someone's feed, it's like, okay, I don't have to really click anything. I just kind of look and see, like, oh, I understand they're offering XYZ. I understand.
At first glance.
Right, at first glance, I'm just like, okay, they're a fitness, you know, brand. Or at first glance, I know that, you know, they're working with aviation companies, or they're working with models, or whatever the case may be. You want something that is definitely consistent to what you're offering and what your services entail.
And I think it kind of reminds me of just, I'm guilty of this, but when I first started, I was kind of putting different things on my page. Like maybe I had like a chicken like on one post, and then me, you know, in Utah on another post. And that's not consistent with what we do. You know, if we're focusing, if our content pillars are photography and XYZ, then we've got to focus on just photography. We can't be posting, you know. Yeah, and it's not that we can't, but maybe you can. I mean, put a filter on it.
I think also when it comes to aesthetics, you want to make sure that you can add in certain personal elements to your brand or to your feed, but it all still should relate.
Yes.
And still fit in some way, somehow, right? Even if it feels like something random, you should be able to be plugged into the brand, into the feed in a cohesive way. And that's something that can be relatable to whoever goes on your page and that is new, completely new, and doesn't know who you are. They should be able to understand that real quick. So definitely look into aesthetics, look into colors, look into what makes you, you know, as a company, what makes you feel a certain way when you're looking at other people's pages. Like you look at other people's pages for inspiration. Like I look at, you know, a lot of creators and a lot of other people that are in the space that, you know, gives us inspiration, that we'd be like, okay, I kind of see, I like how they keep, you know, certain things to the left, or some certain things, you know, where they have text on it, or the colors or a certain way.
It's super cool because you know, with some creatives or profiles, you'll see like it'll be almost like dark and moody colors, but it still looks so professional and so nice.
Yeah.
Or you can be bright and airy, you
Yeah.
know. So it just depends on what you want to do. But I would say if you want to kind of experiment, I mean, Canva is amazing.
Canva's the
I
bomb.
mean, you can like
They're
do
not a
brand,
sponsor, by the way.
yeah, you can do brand kit colors there if you just want to get started. You know, there's also you know companies that help with this, so definitely
Yes.
check that out too. But I would say you just go back to the drawing board when it comes to your brand and just start somewhere. You know, so if you want to start somewhere, try Canva. You can think about the colors you want to use for your profile and even like text.
Yes.
I think for a long time, EJ and I didn't settle on a text.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we went to like a googlefont.com or something like that. Don't quote me on that. And then we just decided on like 3 texts, and then we plugged it all into Canva. And so now anytime we, you know, pop some pictures into Canva and, you know, different graphics, we just use our brand kit, and it makes the process a lot faster when you're trying to upload stuff to Instagram too.
Yeah. Takes the thinking time a little bit out of it. So yeah, I think those are all valuable tips and things that you guys can consider when, you know, choosing text, choosing colors, and how to place those things. And also using tools and apps like, I like one personally, I like one called Unum, UNUM. It's something that I've been using for years, and it's really simple, very user-friendly. But essentially, this app allows you to put in all your posts into the grid, and you'll be able to see everything at first glance, how it would look like if you posted 3 times a week and you have 3 photos or 3 videos lined up. This is how it will look. So you get to kind of play around with it and keep it consistent. And there's other apps out there like Later and those things like that. So definitely check it out.
All right. So how can we leverage Instagram stories and highlights? Because, you know, that's really important. You know, I feel like Instagram stories and highlights are I'd be seeing some numbers on there. I'm like, wow, that many people just watched this today?
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes, it's super important.
I mean,
I feel like I see more eyes and engagement on stories sometimes versus, you know, like on a post. But so how can we leverage, you know, stories and highlights to showcase, you know, products, services, and build brand awareness? Yeah,
I mean, stories are so important, and this is something that we're still working on and trying to enhance and improve in our business, because the power of stories is definitely something that can really push your message further when it comes to selling your services or selling your product. And the engagement that you do get on stories seems to be more than what you would get on the post, like you mentioned before. I think it's because of the personal side to it.
Yeah, it's like in real time. I feel like it's like you're having a conversation in real time, but you know, that's kind of
right. Versus the post you see on your feed, you scroll past it, you probably just take a couple seconds, look at it, like it, and gone. Stories, you get to kind of immerse yourself in it and be able to feel what that person is feeling on the other side. And you guys can quickly DM each other or like it or send each other a GIF now, which Instagram has, which is pretty cool. So I think as far as stories and leveraging your stories for, you know, selling your service or your product, definitely using the poll feature, using, you know, questions, tailoring, even going on Canva and creating those, you know, nice templates that they have. Yes,
you can do templates on Canva specifically for stories, and they have some really great stuff there.
Really great ones.
And I think we recently used a template for our highlights. About us. Yeah, yes. Highlights. And highlights are super important because that's going to stay there forever. And me, I'm a highlight girl. I'm very loyal to the people that I follow. When I love a product, when I love, you know, whatever they're offering, I literally go through all their highlights. I watch all their stories because I'm trying to see, all right, what are they up to today? You know, and actually something that I like, there's a brand that I follow. I think it's for makeup. It's for clean beauty makeup. And I watch their stories every day because they're constantly teaching me something new about their products. So, and they get me engaged and involved by asking questions like, oh, have you tried this product before? Or did you know about this ingredient in this product? And I'm like, no, like I didn't. So thank you for teaching me. So I think that's the power of the stories and the highlights. And as I was about to explain, for EJ and I, we just created our About Us highlight. We recreated it. We had to update it.
We had to update that thing because the one that we had was made
ancient.
When we in 2019 when we first started Soflo Inspires. So.
Yeah, so I was like, you know what? Why don't we do something cute where, you know, it's kind of like we're greeting everyone, like, hey, welcome to the page. This is what we do, and this is what you can expect from us. And like I said, we used the Canva template. We popped in our photos that we took of each other, and yeah, we updated it. And so it's great because anytime somebody visits now, they can just kind of see what we do at a glance. And yeah.
And that's what you want to do. You want to make the user experience as
easy
as possible, as seamless as possible, and efficient as possible. So the best way to do that is making sure everything that they're probably looking for is already there at first touch.
No, seriously. Like, I'm telling you, I'm very loyal to the people I follow. And there's been times where I'm looking at, you know, a brand or a company and I'm trying to get more information and I'm trying to go through their highlights and I don't see what I'm looking for. So I think actually a great thing you could probably implement today is go to Canva, create some FAQs and put it on your Instagram and answer some questions, some frequently asked questions. So
that's good. Yeah, I hope you guys are taking some notes.
I hope that was helpful, y'all. So we're gonna move on to the next question. How can entrepreneurs effectively use hashtags on Instagram to expand their reach and attract their audience?
Hashtags are the GOAT.
Yes.
There's many times we're on calls with, you know, new clients or, you know, leads that come in and we're having the conversation. And we're like, hey, so how do you find us, by the way? And a lot of the times they're saying, it was Instagram for sure. And then they'll say, actually, it was through a hashtag search. And I was like, what? And it's like, I just typed in, you know, Miami videographer or Miami photographer, and you guys' page came up and I saw a photo or video that you guys did for the so-and-so. And I'm like, that is wild.
It's insane.
Because it's so simple. It's such a simple technique, tactic, trick that you can just implement in your posts. And it breaks my heart when I see certain entrepreneurs or certain speakers or certain, you know, realtors that aren't utilizing that feature, right? Don't just make a post and add no hashtags. Like, add something. At least, I mean, Instagram allows you up to like 30 hashtags now. So at least add 10 to 15 and tailor it to that particular image or video and tailor it to your services. And you can niche it down to, you know, where your location is.
Yeah, definitely location. And like one thing I did when we were creating our hashtags was I was like, okay, well, let's do 3 locations. Let's do Broward, Miami, and then I think another one's like Palm Beach or no, I think maybe we have 2 that we put in hashtags, Broward and Miami.
We'll mix it up now, so it depends.
But yeah, as you're looking through and we created a list. So we were like, what 30 hashtags do we want to do? So we created a list. And I think now when you look up the hashtags, you can kind of see a number by it. So you can see how many people are using that same hashtag. I try to stay away from the very, very popular ones, like the 1 million.
Yeah. You want to find something that isn't too broad. Like, for example, what's like a broad one? Like for us, for our industry, we can't put
content creation.
We can't put content creation. We got to put maybe content creation in Miami, content creation in Fort Lauderdale, or even better, you know, we will put like a Miami photo, right? So just niche it down as much as possible. We like to keep our brand name in there as well. So we'll put Soflo Inspire as a hashtag, even though maybe not most people are searching that up, but if they do, and when they do, and who knows, you know, later on, if people want to search us that way, it'll pop up. And it's good for SEO. So I would definitely say, like she said, write out that 30, have some broad ones in there, not too broad, but trying to tailor it as much as possible to what you do.
Yes, it's been helping us. Like EJ said, every time we're on a call, we're like, "How did you find us?" They say hashtags. All right, so that's awesome. How important is it for businesses to collaborate with influencers or other brands on Instagram?
Yeah, other brands on Instagram. I can speak to definitely collaborating with people in your market, like in your space, in your realm, is definitely huge. Because yes, you can gain the exposure from being on other people's platforms and being exposed to their audience, vice versa. But it's really about the relationship that you guys create together, which is most important, and what you're able to learn from each other. Being able to collaborate on a project or maybe a live on Instagram, because that's going to show you, certain things about your brand that you probably never thought about, looking at someone else in your niche, in your real estate era, or in the entrepreneur space. And then you're looking at like, hey, listen, like, how did you do that? How can I get that? Or how can I learn how to do this? And they can probably point you in the right direction just because of that collaborative effort that you both, made the commitment to. So I think it's very important, honestly.
It is important. I'll tell you this. I have a favorite YouTuber that I watch. She's amazing. She's a homemaker, and she did a collaborative video with a different homemaker. And it was like an interview. They were talking about homemaking, challenges and stuff like that. And I was listening to it. I was like, dang, I really love them together. Like, they're really awesome. So then I checked out the girl that was the guest, and I became a fan of her. So I started, following her and binge watching all her stuff from like 8 years ago. And so I think that's the power of collaboration. Like, you resonate with different people and you're exposed to new information. EJ and I learned one of the biggest things we learned from this journey is exposure.
Exposure is everything.
Seriously, like, it really, really is. And, because they did that collaboration, I was able to be exposed to new information that taught me how to be, a better wife. So, collaborating, you want to collaborate for all those reasons. And I think as far as with influencers, we can talk about this, babe, because we like to travel. Yeah. And we like to look at different places. And for me, we went to a beautiful, beautiful, amazing place we just traveled to.
Yes.
And I was so sad to see on their profile no videos of influencers or other people visiting that area.
Right.
Like, all I saw was, just obviously beautiful photos of the space. They had pools and the architecture. But I was like, I want to see real people in this spot.
Right.
And I could not find any content like that. Yeah. So I believe that, collaborating with influencers too, like, depending on what you do, getting other people involved, like even like makeup brands, just getting other, like, if you sell makeup, maybe collaborate with different makeup artists using your product.
Yep.
For that exposure and to show, so.
Yeah, I agree. I think definitely from the experience of going on that trip, and we realized that when we looked at their content, we're like, this does not justify what this place offers.
Yeah, that was the saddest part. It was like EJ and I still went. We had a great time. We made influencer content out of it. But it was like, man, we were just thinking about the company. We're like, man, if they just had other influencers, how much it would help and benefit them.
It will benefit them tremendously, and something that we're gonna
something we gonna try
work up for them.
I would love to, because it was such a great place. On that. Yeah, we'll keep you updated. It was such a great place. So there's a lot of changes happening in the Instagram world. A lot of updates. We got the new threads. Just talked about it a little bit on the last episode, our podcast episode. So we want to know, how important is it for businesses to stay updated with Instagram's algorithm? Yeah.
I think as a business owner, we already know that we're doing a million different things already. And then add on top of that new features on the platforms that you're probably already trying to figure out. So I'm not gonna lie, it probably is overwhelming, if you're new to social media as a whole, and if you're new to Instagram as a whole, and then you add in a million different features, it's probably a struggle. I would say anyone that if you're new starting out, just start with the basics.
Yeah.
Don't worry about all the new things yet. Just focus on what has already been working. Focus on what you can do.
Yes.
Focus on learning the ins and outs of the basics of how to post.
Yes.
Number one, how to post.
Baby steps.
Correctly. How to edit your bio. How to update your profile picture, right? Learn the basics first and then move into the other features. But it's important for us as business owners to stay updated. And even though it depends on the level of your business too, you might have a social media manager.
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
Yeah, you might have a social media manager. You might have someone that's in place to kind of help you with that, which is fine. But they should be able to update you and share what's going on and what's new and happening around the online space. So you're still in the know. But yeah, for us, we try our best to stay updated with the new things that's coming out. Some things we're just like, we don't got no time for,
Yeah,
honestly.
Like, we just gonna do what we can this week.
Yeah.
And it hasn't failed us. It hasn't
Hasn't.
failed us. We still get leads, and shout out to the content and the Lord.
Yeah, 100%. So at the end of the day, just focus on the things that, it's going to be fruitful for you. So, and not going to take too much time from the other important aspects of your business too. Because there's other aspects like sales and marketing and other different ways. And those things are important. So, yeah.
I agree.
Anything you want to add?
I was thinking about it, but no, I think that's pretty much it. But are there any common mistakes that businesses should avoid or entrepreneurs should avoid when using Instagram for their online presence?
Common mistakes entrepreneurs or anyone
Businesses should avoid
they should avoid
when growing their online presence. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, some common mistakes that we have seen is definitely some of the things that we already mentioned before, like the bio, not using hashtags, not solidifying the foundation is like one of the biggest one. Because you gotta know.
So true.
You gotta know what's the source.
Yeah.
Like,
what are you selling? What are you offering?
like,
What? How can you help?
yeah, you have to have an offer. Like, you have to have something that you're offering. And I mean, you can always start without an offer as well, but for you to really maximize, because this episode is all about maximizing social media and maximizing Instagram, you need to have something to offer.
Yeah.
And you need to have somewhere for them to purchase that offer or that service or that product. So make sure you have that link. Make sure you have a website, or make sure you have a link tree or something that they can click in your Instagram bio and direct them to as your call to action where you're making these posts. Because you can have amazing posts, amazing content, and if you have no call to action and nowhere for them to go, it's not gonna, you're not gonna see any real benefit from that. So I think a big mistake is definitely not solidifying the foundation at first before investing, like not solidifying the foundation and then investing into the content. I think you need to solidify the foundation first, build around that.
What would you say to people who hear that and they think like, oh, I might have to have like everything perfect before I do it?
I think, will you say you're a perfectionist?
Me? Yeah, but at the same time, like, I just got to get this done.
Yeah, I mean,
or even in terms of us when we started, like, did we have everything? Was our foundation there?
I think there is a level of perfectionist in everyone. There's also a level of excellence that we like to meet when you're doing certain things.
Yes.
But you don't want to be stuck in that or live in that too long, because it will hinder you from starting.
There we go.
For example, this podcast, we're supposed to have been doing this, and I mean, God willing, it probably wasn't timing yet. We had a
Yeah,
lot
I
of
think it
different
was more
things.
timing. Yeah.
But because of us, or at least me, thinking about, okay, we don't have the proper audio, the proper lighting, the proper space, and we're not sure exactly what we're going to be speaking about yet, I think that kind of slowed us down from starting sooner. So, but once we create a foundation, like, all right, let's really look into what we want to speak about on this podcast. Is really look into how we want to show up.
Yes.
And what we want our audience to get from this.
Mm-hmm.
Then everything else kind
fell
of
into place.
It just came natural.
That's really good. And I just want to share to anybody listening that if you need to sit down with somebody and talk about it, I would definitely do that. Get a trusted friend, get a business partner, sit down, go to a nice restaurant, go where you need to go that's inspiring, sit down and have these discussions, because EJ and I are sitting here, but we created the foundation in a PowerPoint how many months ago? 4 or 5 months ago?
Yeah.
You know, at a nice restaurant that we like to eat at. And we talked about it. We were like, how do we want to show up? You know, what value do we want to bring to you guys? How can we help you guys?
Yeah.
And because we put those pieces together and talked about it out loud, we're like, okay, well, I kind of want to do this, or I kind of didn't want to do that. We're able to sit here and at least start.
Yes.
So it might not be perfect, but you know, at least we're able to do it. And so that's what I also encourage for you guys.
Yeah, that's good.
Any other common mistakes that entrepreneurs should avoid when they're trying to grow their online presence? Anything else?
I would say identifying if you're building a personal brand or you're building just a brand for your business.
Yeah.
Because that's where you can get stuck in, like, should I be posting this or not? Or can this fit into my overall marketing strategy? Because it's two different things. You have a personal brand, which is really more honed in on you as a person that does the thing or has the product or has the service, versus there's no face to the brand. It's just the business.
Yeah.
So the service or the product or whatever you're offering. So I would say identify which one you want to play first. Would you rather be in front of the camera and have the personal brand approach more? Or would you just say, you know what, I want to build this brand or this business or this idea around more of the elements that create the business, you know? And you can still have some personal touch. Like, yeah, you can have some videos and photos of you, some nice clean headshots, whatever the case may be, to showcase, like, there's someone there. You got to show that there's someone at least behind.
Someone there.
There's someone there. Hello, there's someone there. But you don't have to make it all about you. It doesn't have to feel like it's coming from you all the time. Or it can feel more of like an organization.
It could be if that's your approach, but I guess that's the point. You just want to sit down and think about it.
Yeah, you want to identify it first. So I think one mistake is that people don't identify that first, so they kind of juggle the two.
Yeah, that was definitely me, because I feel like when we first started, we were putting a lot more couple stuff on our page, and then we realized, hey, like, why don't we keep that for our personal brand? You know, we'll share tips on couple stuff, you know, on our personal page, and then we'll keep, you know, the photography and content creation and business and entrepreneurship on Soflo.
Yeah, so, and I think it's been working, because honestly, surprisingly, a lot of people still don't think we're married, or we're not.
I'm so shocked.
They're not sure if we're together or not. And I'm like, yeah, that's my wife.
Oh, I'm so shocked.
Yeah, they're like, I seen the girl.
Well, that goes to show,
fiance, or I wasn't sure, or I was together.
So that goes to show that we did separate it, which I mean, I'm still shocked, because in my head I'm like, yeah, that's my babe. But
but I guess we're doing a good job in that area. But
that's true.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to do it.
Yeah, so I think that's awesome. Hope y'all are learning some stuff. So we're gonna close it out with this last question. How can entrepreneurs cross promote their Instagram content on other platforms or channels to reach a wider audience?
Yeah, I think cross posting your content, right, on multiple different channels like YouTube, TikTok, even though we don't have TikTok, but TikTok, repurposing the content is one of the fastest way to grow, and repurposing the content is one of the most efficient way to really create more and be in more places at the same time. So just like, for example, for us, we're going to be using this YouTube video essentially to cut it up in different formats for Instagram Reels or Instagram Stories. And then we're going to use some pieces maybe for the website, or we're going to use some pieces for the audio version for different streaming platforms. So there's multiple ways we can kind of maximize this opportunity. So I would say always look for those opportunities so you can leverage it for the platforms that you're looking to grow on. And you got to identify that too. Like, where are the platforms you are comfortable with?
Yes.
Are you more audio person that can speak on mics and, don't want to really show their face? You don't really have to. You can just start a podcast and then use that audio. Or are you someone that wants to be on camera or has the personality to be on camera and be entertaining and people can see your energy and your vibe? So maybe YouTube is the best bet for you. Or Instagram. For us, we love Instagram because it's very user friendly. It's I don't know. It's creative.
Instagram's the OG.
Instagram is the OG for creators for sure. Like,
oh yeah.
Like, it was meant really for us. Definitely, because just the moment it was created, we had the opportunity to
post pictures.
Yeah, amazing photos. So photographers like us and creators like us, like Instagram is definitely the go-to, and it should be a priority as a platform. And then other ones you can, dabble into or, invest your time into if you find interest in. Yeah. But yeah, I would definitely say if you are creating long form content, figure out a way you can create it into short form so you can use it for other platforms. And if you're creating short form content, find the platforms that offer different types of short form content. So yeah, that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, I love that. And knowing, like you said, knowing what platforms you want to go on. Because we had a client who we took one video. I think we gave them 10 pieces of content or something like that. Yeah. But we took one video and we had to format it for multiple platforms. Yeah. So we had to format it for the Instagram reel, format it for Hulu, and format it for Facebook ads. Yeah. And they, I think for the most part, they kind of worked out together, but you had to format it in a way where the button, depending on where you place certain text and certain things, the button for Facebook ads might cover it and just different stuff like that. So that's why it's good also to know.
Yeah, because there is different things that play into that, but ultimately posting your content is a great strategy that you should utilize, when it comes to content creation. Yeah, thank you guys for tuning in and watching. I think this episode's about 40 minutes. Thank you so much for listening in. Thank you for, we hope that you guys are inspired, feel encouraged, and feel motivated to go out there, create more content, and start your Instagram if you haven't already, or get on social media and start to post again if you haven't. Definitely something that you're going to need in this digital media age. So please listen to this podcast to get that jump start. Next, do some research on your own and learn as much as you can, just like we have, and we are continuing learning right now. So we will see you guys on the next episode, and thank you guys for tuning in.